So in this lecture, we're going to be talking about all the same tools that we showcased in the Procreate lecture, but where you can find them in Photoshop, okay, and how they might be a little bit different for you, okay? So same one as the first one we're going to start off with is the paintbrush, which if you look on the left side of your screen, it's over here. It looks just like a paintbrush, okay? If you click on it and come over here to your canvas, you can paint down by either clicking or drawing with your stylus on your tablet, and it will paint there, okay? If you click on, just like most of these tools here, if you hold down and click on it, there's other options as well. We're just going to be focusing on the brush tool. Now if you come up here to the top, you can see this is where you choose your brush size, what kind of brush it is you want to use, okay? And then you can adjust the size right here. These are your sliders for size, okay? Then you can come over and paint using whatever brush it is you selected if you want it to be really big or whatever you're going for. Okay, the next one is a smudge tool. It's this one over here that looks like a hand. It's the same icon as in Procreate. And once again, this has its own options as well if you hold down, but we only need to focus on the first one. So you can see here, I'm smudging. Now in Photoshop, depending on how fast your computer is and how big of a file you're using, this is a slightly large file, so it has a little bit of a lag to it. Okay, but that's a smudge tool. You can see if we come over here, we can smudge stuff. And just like our other tools, if we come up here, we can change which brush it is we want to be smudging with, and it will affect that accordingly. Okay. Next one is going to be our eraser tool, which does exactly what it sounds like, is erase. And that is going to be over here. It looks like an eraser. Okay. Click on that, and it will erase away whatever it is you're erasing. And depending on how much your opacity is set to and your brush size, it will affect that as well. And just like all of our other brushes, we can choose a custom brush over here to erase with, and it will react accordingly. Okay. Next thing is going to be our color picker tool. Okay. Now over here is where our color is, right? There's this menu all the way to the right. This is where we pick our color. It's similar to Procreate, and you can use these bars here to adjust and resize things according to how you like to work. Okay, so that's all customizable. So yeah, you could just slide around, pick your color, and then come back over here with your paintbrush, and it will change the color you're painting with. Okay. You should also note that if you're in Photoshop, these little squares down here on the left, this is your foreground and your background color. The one on top is going to be the one you're painting with, and this one that's the background color is going to be the background. So if I were to take a selection and move something, okay, what's going to be behind it will be white, which is this foreground color. But if we change the foreground color to, let's say, red, okay, and then we made a selection, let's see if we move it now. So let's place that down. So if I make a selection, again, we'll come over here, connect that. Now the background is going to be whatever we selected, which was red. Okay, so that's how that works. Our layer menu is going to be over here on the right where it says layers. Okay, and it functions pretty similarly, right? We have our background layer. We can turn it on and off depending on what we hit. Right now it's locked, but we can unlock that, create a new layer, layer opacity, layer mode here. Okay, and then to make a new layer, you just hit this little button down here. It doesn't have a plus sign. Instead, it looks like a sticky note with the corner bent up. That's what you're going to hit in order to make a new layer, and then you can work on that as well. Okay, and I should also know that if you click on a layer, you can drag it around and move it either on top or bottom. Okay, so there's our layers. Then we have our sliders, which we sort of already talked about. If we're using a paintbrush, our size slider is going to be up here under size, okay, on the actual brush menu itself, and then our opacity slider is right next to that. Okay, now there are hotkeys for all of these things, and you can even set your own, so I encourage you to learn those or make it set up so that it's most convenient for you, because that's really going to help improve your workflow. And then the last thing is our selection tool, which we already used a little bit, but if I come over here, right now it's set to magnetic, so it's going to try and find edges to follow, like you can see it's doing here with this shape. Okay, and then it will connect back here. Or if you just want to do freeform, you just hit lasso tool, just normal lasso tool, and you can draw however you want. Okay, and then to move it around, you come up here to your selection tool or your move tool, and then you can grab that. And because we're on the layer with only this blue thing on it, that's all it's selected, but we can move that around. Okay, and it's the same as with Procreate. So that's it for the tools for Photoshop. Hopefully this is enough to get you to a point where you're familiar enough with where stuff is, and if you're using different software, you at least know what tools we're going to be using. That's it for this lecture. I'll see you guys in the next one.